Sorry, I don't think we were live there.
What did you do?
I just hit the mic was off. I did my whole intro and the mic was off.
I saw you turn it on.
I know. I thought I did too. I guess it didn't. I wasn't paying attention. Hey guys, welcome to the show. Sorry about that. We're having some technical difficulties. Not only that, but I was playing around with the software for open broadcaster software anyway this last week, and so it's all out of sorts. But anyway, we're back online, and welcome to the show. We've got a whole bunch of stuff going on tonight, and show is sponsored by gasspouts.com. You can check them out, gasspouts.com. These are American-made gas spouts, and they have basically, we went out and purchased gas spouts. We purchased gas spouts to replace all of our gas cans we have on the Homestead because we could not stand those crazy China Mart, Walmart, Target, whatever, those cheap gas can spouts that you buy today in the stores that are like adult-proof, child-proof. They're just crazy, and they don't work, and you spill gas everywhere because of them, and you just want a regular gas spout, you know, and it's a benefit, it's a plus that they're all made in the USA, so gasspouts.com, check them out. You can get 20% off your order. They're not that expensive anyway, but you get 20% off if you use our coupon code. It's AAH, you know, for an American Homestead, AAH 20 off, so AAH 20 off. And that'll give you 20% off your purchase over at gasspouts.com. And so really happy to have them on as a sponsor, and they work, and they're American-made, so you can't go wrong with that. Anyway, let me go back to my little notes here. So listen, folks, if you like this show, you can go over to thehomesteadnetwork.com and see some amazing other Homestead Network channels, other homesteading channels, whether they're on-grid, off-grid, all kinds of variety over at thehomesteadnetwork.com. We're always preceded by the Deep South Homestead down in southern Mississippi, and they're another great show that's always on before us. We're the Late Late Show. We round out the evening, and you know, well, it's not late. I mean, for you guys in like the East Coast, it's probably later, but you know, Central Standard Time, it's 9 o'clock.
This time of year, it doesn't really feel that late.
Yeah, but I mean, it's
in the middle of winter. Man, it's late for us.
Yeah. So,
when the sun's already been down like 3 hours or 4 hours.
Yeah, so it's the Late Late Show. We call it the Late Late Show because we're just the last ones on. But you know, late is relative to certain people. So anyway, but yeah, check it out. TheHomesteadNetwork.com. Go to their show times, and you'll see a whole bunch of other channels over there that you can check out if you're interested. So, what did we do this week?
You're expecting me to answer. Okay. I made egg rolls.
Oh, she's reading my list.
I don't remember what I do every day.
We made a video on egg rolls. It got a lot of comments. People were really excited to see that. They thought they looked delicious. People really liked the fact that it was baked and not fried. Yeah,
you do put a certain amount of oil on it. I mean, it's certainly not fat free.
Right.
But it works out.
Close it.
Oh, he's telling me to close that.
Well, because it was spinning, and that means it's drawing bandwidth.
Okay, sorry.
So it's okay.
What was this? Oh, egg rolls. Okay, so
baked, not fried.
Yeah. Well, I think that it's easy that way to do big batch at one time, and I do a lot at one time. Zach loves them so much.
Plus, if you're not frying them, I mean, you're not spreading grease all over the kitchen, and
that too.
So it's really a lot
yeah,
neater.
You don't have to stand over the stove.
Right. So we made egg rolls this week. They're always a hit in this house. Me and my son fight over who's going to eat the most of them.
I know. He loves them as much as you.
So we love that. Anyway, it's a good video. Check it out. If you haven't seen it yet, you can go to our channel and...
he likes his with peanut sauce.
Yeah.
Zach
yucky.
Hates. You haven't even tried the peanut sauce, but he can't even stand the thought of it.
Yeah, I don't like peanut sauce. I mean, I like peanut butter. It's fine. I like peanuts. I just don't like peanut sauce. It's just wrong.
You've never tried it.
Yeah, I have. I have tried it. I don't like it. It's just gross.
It's fine. You don't have to like it. We all like it.
You know,
the boys love it.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. They can all be weird. So we made egg rolls, and the video is up on the channel. You can check it out. And it's hot here, folks. Hot. And I'm drinking. What's the tea? It's called.
It's fine.
What's the name of the company? Steep the Senses.
Yeah, Steep the Senses. I forget what the name of the tea.
They don't pay us for advertising, but I really like these guys, and they make good tea. Yeah. It's a fruit tea, like a fruit.
Yeah, it's. She puts all sorts of stuff in it, like
what's in this one?
Dried fruit and gosh, I'd have to get the label.
There's like rose petals and.
Do you want me to
go get it real quick? Yeah, go get it real quick. We'll read it. It's really good, and so we have a cooler, right, with some ice in it that we get from town, and so it's kind of like a treat that we don't do all the time, but she makes this tea and she'll put it in a container. So go ahead and read the ingredients.
I'm trying to find the light here. Okay, rose hips, orange pieces, apple pieces, hibiscus petals, and natural flavors. And they live in Missouri. They're a homesteading company, and she makes tea.
What's the name of the company again?
Steep the Senses.
I think you can find it at steepthesenses.com.
Mm-hmm. And what we think is so cool is that we met them at the Baker Creek Festival.
Yeah, Baker Creek.
And the thing that really struck me about being there, which really, I always think this, but it's good to see a whole lot of people in one place, kind of really being inspirational, because when you're homesteading, you've got to find what it is that you love. Like you can make whatever product. If you could make whatever product, this family chose to do tea,
and they do a lot of it.
There was a lady there who was spinning hair from a rabbit.
Yeah. And she sells it for a lot of money.
There were I can't talk tonight. Sorry. There were woodworkers. Everything under the sun. Zach is a graphic designer, and he makes lots of videos, and he has a graphic design business on the side that he does for clients. But whatever it is that you find to do, there's 1,000,001 ways to do it.
Yep. So, just so I saw the chat room talk, the peanut sauce is, it's only like a, what do you call it?
Well, I don't really make it really authentic.
Well, what's the peanut sauce is? It's like a condiment.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like everyone's saying, well, you have to eat what she fixes, Zach. And I'm like, it's a condiment. You can choose to eat it if you want.
No, he doesn't have to eat it.
Yeah.
I actually prefer that he doesn't eat it because the boys love it so much that, I would be making a lot of it. And it basically it's just a dip. And they like to use it for anything Asian that I make.
Right. So she makes the egg rolls, and they like the peanut sauce. I like the I use liquid aminos as a dipping thing for me. They use the peanut sauce. So, but we all eat the same thing.
It's just peanut butter. There's so many recipes online you can find. I like to go to food.com for recipes because all of them are rated. Star ratings. Anyway, but it's just peanut sauce, honey, some liquid aminos. Well, really, it calls for soy sauce, but we use aminos. And what else do I put in there?
I don't know.
Oh, a little bit of apple cider vinegar.
Yeah. So, so we did that this week, and we love the egg rolls, and, we got a variety of condiments that we choose to put on them, but so we did that. The video is online if you want to see it. Basically, I gave all the ingredients for what she put in there, so you can go to the description and see all of that. And so it's all on the YouTube channel right now. The other thing we're working on right now is smoked salt. We're making smoked salt in our cold smoker. Been working on that for a few days. I have a few more days left to go before a batch is finished. This will be a maple wood batch. I really like the maple and the hickory the best. And so the maple, when you smell it after it's finished, it has a tinge of sweetness in the smell because of the maple sap that's in the wood when it cooks. And so I try to use the wood, I don't let the wood age. I try to use green wood or close to green wood so that it gets that tinge of sweetness. It's just amazing. So let's see. Some smoked salt. And you finished the Revolutionary War topic for homeschool.
Yeah,
for the year.
we got done with our homeschool year. We're about ready to start again in August, which may seem kind of crazy, but we're only going to do 3 days a week in August and September. But I got to get going because we usually take almost a month and a half off October and into November. So it's just the way it is, the way our schedule goes.
Right. And then what's next, you said?
We're going to pick up where we left off in August, but only 3 days a week, hopefully.
Well, Revolutionary War is over. What's next?
I'm going to backtrack a little bit, and we're going to study South America a little bit with the Incas, the Mayans, and the Aztecs. And then after that, we're going to start up with Lewis and Clark.
Oh, that's cool. So working towards Civil War era.
This entire year we'll be hopefully finishing up American history through the Second World War.
One of my favorite movies is it was a Civil War movie. I can't remember.
The Civil War. There's so many.
Yeah, I can't remember. It used to be on VHS, and it was a 2-part thing. Oh, Gettysburg. That's it, Gettysburg.
Oh, yeah. We watched a little bit of it before, but I bet they would really enjoy that.
Yeah, they'd like that. There's a lot of drama in it they may not like. I don't know.
Well, they can get past that a little bit now.
Yeah.
It's just that, I don't know. I'm really looking forward to it because I always say that I feel like my history education is lacking. So I learn a lot too.
The rest of the week, I was working on search engine optimization. Folks, we are going to be traveling to Texas next week. So next week, we will be in Texas, and I think we're going to try to do at least some sort of a podcast. I'm not sure how we're going to do it yet because Saturday night, the way it's scheduled right now, according to people who are planning this, is that we are going to dinner at somebody's house Saturday night. And they had us over for dinner last year, and it was all of the speakers of the event for the conference, and they had them over for dinner. And they made gumbo. I just thought it was delicious. And what I want to do this week, I haven't talked to the guy, yet whose house it is, but he has a really cool number of firearms. And he has, so you guys out there who like firearms, I want you to Google Chris USA, Kriss USA, Chris USA, Vector CRB, a Vector CRB. So he's got one of those, and I would love to show it on camera and, just show people. It's one of the most fascinating firearms that have been developed in the 21st century, and I have never shot one. I've just held one, and it was his that I held. And I'd like to, this time maybe, if he would let me, put it on camera and talk about it a little bit.
Their house is crazy. It's like the complete polar opposite from our house.
It's like a smart house. I
didn't know what to do. I didn't even know how to turn on the lights. I went into the bathroom. I couldn't figure out how to turn on the lights.
Yeah, so they have
the water.
They have the latest and greatest technology. We're going over there for dinner again, and so I'm really looking forward to it. And there's going to be a lot of cool people there. So we'll try to do something, even if it's just a Facebook stream, something simple on the American Homestead Facebook page. We'll do something. But I will give a heads-up notice that Saturday of what it's going to be. So you're going to have to pay attention. I may even do a quick video on YouTube just letting you know what it's going to be that night. So be sure to look, and so you'll know what it's going to be that night.
I'm worried you're going to forget.
No, we're not. We won't forget.
Are you sure?
Yeah, because I'm making this announcement now, so then I won't forget.
I don't believe you.
So she knows me. So anyway,
he just gets caught up in the moment with things.
Yeah,
and you've promised this kind of stuff before, and you forget.
We will do a video. We'll do some sort of video. So the reason we're leaving for Texas on Friday, and we're going to be gone. Tim and Joanne will be here on the homestead, holding down the fort, and we'll be. So I've been working on a bunch of my client work. I have to get caught up on work, homestead work, client work. Because I'm a developer, and I still do client work, each month. And so I'm trying to get it all out of the way so that we can travel and be gone. Because we're going to go to the Alamo in San Antonio after it's done. And we may do a video there. I think that would be really cool because there's a lot of history there. And, Davy Crockett, all that stuff.
The boys have memorized the whole ballad of Davy Crockett.
Yeah. And David Bowie, or is it David Bowie?
Yeah.
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 I thought that was the singer. Why am I
That's
getting
David Bowie.
Oh, okay.
Right?
I don't know. It's like the Bowie knife.
I don't remember his first name.
I can't remember. Is it Jim Bowie? Sorry, Jim Bowie. James Bowie. Sorry. Who invented the Bowie knife? I don't know why I got that messed up. I've known this since I was a kid. It's been a long week, folks. Anyway, so we're getting all that out of the way, and I'm trying to plant potatoes before we leave, so we can have a fall crop of potatoes. So I'm going to try to go ahead and get that done. I don't know if that's the wisest thing to do, but I'm going to go ahead and try to do it because I don't want to wait till I get back. So I'm going to try to replant potatoes. And this week we moved some of our solar panels over to Jamie's parents' house to go ahead and power a freezer coming up soon at some point.
Yeah, so it's a small
freezer.
One of those small deep freeze that'll be hooked into that system. And so we'll be able to freeze water to be able to use in our coolers, which is really all we need.
Right. So we're gonna get that hooked up here soon. We gotta get some batteries for it, which means we gotta get some money. Another part of the reason why I'm trying to get my work finished before I leave. So because we want to get we're not going to get lead acid batteries anymore. We're going to go ahead and get the AGMs. They're a lot more expensive, but they're a lot easier to maintain. In fact, there's no maintenance. They just last a lot longer. As long as you treat them well, they will be around for a long time. And so we're going to go ahead and get some AGM batteries for that solar setup. And we have all the other parts to do what we need to do with them. So we just basically lifted 2 of the panels off of the 4 set that were over at the Aquaponics system, and we will run 1 of the Aquaponics beds after next winter, or this coming winter, and that'll be used for sprouting cabbages and some other things, maybe some broccoli and whatever. But so we'll keep 2 over there, and we're bringing 2 over for the new freezer. So that's kind of what's going on around the homestead right now. Let's go ahead and go over and check out some of these articles because there's a lot going on around the internet right now. But be looking forward again, guys, for next week. Keep your eyes peeled on the Facebook page and American Homestead to see when we will be podcasting. But I think we'll have video. We'll have video on Saturday. It's some sort of video on Saturday night, next Saturday night. Podcasting from Beaumont, Texas. So, this week, we have been invaded by the Japanese beetles. I mean, it's like Midway all over again. Oh, okay. Tora. But, it's insane. We have Japanese beetles all over our garden, and they're zeroing in and dive bombing all of my plants. And the neem oil works great. It's just, every plant that I put neem oil on, they find something else. And last year in the garden, we had 2 plum trees, and they decimated those. And so I cut those trees down because I didn't want them anymore. I gave them a few years to produce. They never did produce very good. And so I got rid of the plum trees. But now, they went right for the blackberry, manicured blackberries that we have. And I put neem oil on those and Salsud soap, and they left them alone for the most part. They're still on there some places, and they're hitting them. And then I walked out the other day, and they were all over my Egyptian spinach, and at least starting to be. And so they're on the Egyptian spinach. And so I knocked them all off, and I sprayed it with neem oil. And last time I checked, they were kind of leaving those alone now. Thank goodness. No, so Roxanne Arthur says, are these stink bugs? No, Japanese beetles. Think Midway, Charlton Heston. It's zeros, dive bombing your aircraft carrier. It's insane. I mean, and they look really pretty. They're this nice green color, but yeah, it's crazy. And so then I was over at my corn. And I'm looking at my corn, and they're all over the silk of the corn, and they're eating the silk of the corn and probably laying eggs down in there that'll hatch worms. You got to, pull them off. So, and our corn is just about done. I mean, I'll be harvesting some corn this week. And, if Tim and Joanne, while we're gone, want corn, they can probably go out there and get some corn and eat it. But the sweet corn's coming in. It's just about there. and the Japanese beetles are attaching themselves and eating the silk off and doing what they do best by destroying it. So this spring we put out some milky spore, and it takes about a year for it to work or really set in. And I've spread it all throughout the garden. I'm pretty convinced what I'm going to do, and it's not that cheap. I mean, it's a little expensive, but I'm pretty convinced that what I'm going to do is buy some more of that this fall and put some more in, and then buy some more of it this next spring and put some more in. And then not only put it around the garden, but around the other parts of the garden, around the edges of the garden, because you gotta kill these grubs. And so we'll talk about that. So I found this article. It's over at let's see. All right, it's over at premeditatedleftovers.com. Premeditatedleftovers.com. And it's 7 safe ways to get rid of Japanese beetles in the garden. 7 safe ways to get rid of Japanese beetles in the garden. Link is in the description below, so you can go over there and check it out. We always put links of all of our articles we read online so you can follow along with us. So you can go to the link below and follow along. It's at premeditatedleftovers.com. It says Japanese beetles are one of the worst pests to have around your garden. They can wreak a ton of havoc, and in no time at all, the plants and leaves look terrible. Fortunately, there are some ways you can battle against these bugs and get rid of Japanese beetles in your garden, and in a safe manner too. If you enjoy gardening but hate seeing your plants get destroyed by these pests, check out the 7 safe ways to get rid of Japanese beetles in the garden below. And then it says, number 1, hand picking, which I can do. I've done that before in the past, but it's kind of a tedious, monotonous job. It's not a very pleasant job. But it says removing Japanese beetles you see manually may be time-consuming, but it's one of the most effective ways to get them out of the garden. Fill a bucket with hot, soapy water and hold it beneath the plants as you gently shake them. The bugs will fall into the water and drown by morning. The smell they give off in the bucket will help fend off other beetles. And then number 2, they have baby powder. Using baby powder is a great deterrent for smaller gardens or just a selection of plants. Sprinkle the leaves with the powder just enough for a dusting. This will alter the taste and smell of the plants, leaving them undesirable to the beetles. Make sure you sprinkle on more baby powder after each rain, because the rain's just going to wash it off. And number 3, cleanup. Japanese beetles are attracted to an area by rotting wood or diseased plants. I don't have any rotting wood in the garden that I know of, or diseased plants. It says before it's time for them to start coming around, be sure to clean up your yard, and particularly the area around your garden. Number 4, garlic. The scent of garlic is unappealing to many garden pests, and Japanese beetles are no exception. Well, see, that doesn't work because I have garlic in a number of places in our garden, and they're still eating in places near where that garlic is being grown. So I don't think that's right. Maybe someone else can comment. Once we go to the chat room later, you can tell me if that works for you. Number 5, milky spore. And this is the thing I have heard the most people have the most success with. Deep South Homestead, I know you guys, I think you've used this, you've recommended it. So we went ahead and got it this last spring, but it takes about a year to work. It says milky spore is an organic repellent for Japanese beetles. It infects the grubs before they reach the beetle stage. When they die, they release even more milky spores into the ground, killing more grubs. This method can take a year or 2 to fully be effective, but it can work well for 10 to 15 years once implemented. Number 6, nematodes. Nematodes work similar to the milky spores in that they kill grubs after entering their body. When used in combination with the milky spores, nematodes can greatly reduce and control the Japanese beetle population around your plants. And then number 7, they say plan your planting. There are some plants that Japanese beetles tend to gravitate towards more than others. If you have a huge pest problem, it may be best to stay away from their favorites. Japanese beetles like apple, birch, rose, crepe, myrtle, pin oak, cherry, and plum. Opt for plants least favored by the beetles, such as ash, redbud, magnolia, hemlock, dogwood, and boxwood. And we do have a number of wild plum trees growing in our area here. And so, I mean, it's just going to be something that draws them in. But if you go to Wikipedia, they have a milky spore entry in Wikipedia. And I can't pronounce the name. It's the Latin name of that. I don't know. I have no idea how to pronounce that. But if you just search for milky spore, and it'll come up on Wikipedia. It says it's a gram-positive, rod-shaped bacterium. It is responsible for a disease commonly called milky spore of the white grubs of Japanese beetles. The adult Japanese beetles pupate in July and feed on flowers and leaves of shrubs and garden plants. During this adult stage, the beetles also mate and females lay eggs in the soil in late July to early August. The eggs hatch soon afterwards, and in this larval or grub stage, they feed on the roots of grass and other plants. As the weather gets cooler and winter approaches, the grubs go deeper into the soil and feeding declines as they overwinter. In August, when the grubs are close to the surface and feeding, they are vulnerable to the infestation by milky spore. This is also the optimal time frame for turf inoculation or applications with milky spore to increase milky spore in the soil environment. It says there are product specific guidelines that should be followed for their application. It says resident spores in the soil are swallowed by the grubs during the normal pattern of feeding on roots. This ingestion of the spore by the host activates reproduction of the bacteria inside the grub. Within 7 to 21 days, the grub will eventually die, and the grub as the grub decomposes, billions of new spores are released into the soil. So it's like this continually thing that goes on and on. It says milky spore in the soil is not harmful or to beneficial insects, birds, bees, pets, or people. And milky spore, like other bacteria, is highly survivable in drought conditions, but suffers in temperatures of zones 5 and colder. So for you guys that are way up north, it might not work so well, but for us, it's perfect. So we're going to go ahead and try it. And like I said, of all the reviews we have read, this is the thing that I've heard the most people have the most success with. So we're going to try it. Yeah. Anyway, milky spore. Go check it out. But the Japanese beetles, man, I'm telling you, it's crazy out there. It's like Pearl Harbor in my garden right now. So you have to check it out. Milky spore if you have the same problem. Going back to the list of articles right now. The forgotten edible plants. So, this would be a good trivia question. What do you think is the forgotten edible plant? I'm not asking us to, because I just posted the article. What do you think is the forgotten edible plant? You can't read.
You're asking me?
Yeah. The forgotten edible plant that our ancestors, or people who are homesteaders, early American pioneers, what was one of the things that they...
Drawing a blank.
It's lamb's quarter. Oops, sorry. It's lamb's quarter. So the article is put out by Off the Grid News. Now, we know Off the Grid News has a tremendous, accuracy record on our show. But it says, it's really a nice article. It's the forgotten edible they collected in bathtubs during the Great Depression. I don't know why they use bathtubs, but you can read the article, I guess.
Did they grow it?
Well, it just grows. It just grows natural. It's everywhere. You just collect it. They probably put it in their bathtubs. I don't know. I have no idea. Maybe they washed it afterwards. But it's lamb's quarter. It says, what are the healthiest greens growing in your garden? Lettuce, spinach, kale. These crops and others like them are planted, cultivated, harvested in many gardens around the country. We pay money for their seeds, and we often run water to help them grow. And then after weeks, our garden greens are ready to be harvested. There is a possibility, though, that you may be removing a plant from your garden that rivals even kale in its nutritional value. This common garden green has earned many names over the centuries, but is commonly known as lamb's quarter. So lamb's quarter is a green with a rich history. The Romans and the people in the medieval ages readily consumed it. Entire towns actually acquired their names due to the abundance of the plant. It says the nutritional benefits of lamb's quarter weren't a secret to only Europeans. In fact, people in the New World were also keen on this healthy wild food. Let me just interrupt here real quick. So we have this growing around here in abundance. It grows everywhere. And I'm going to do a video this week. The reason I picked this article, and I thought it was really interesting, and so I'm going to share it on Facebook coming up this week and urge you to read it. It's informative, and anything that's as healthy as kale should be considered as a food. Because it's very healthy. So, but the issue is that people around here, where we live, and maybe where you live too, will eat and harvest and consume pokeweed.
Yeah.
That makes no sense to me whatsoever. And
you have to boil it like how
you have
many
to
times?
boil it like 3 times for it to be editable. Edible. I can't say that word.
Edible.
I can't say that word. Edible. There. It makes no sense. Why on earth? Because it's poisonous. The stalks are poisonous. The leaves are poisonous. Even when it's a young shoot, pokeweed still has to be boiled at least 3 times, 2 or 3 times before you can eat it.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you do that when you have natural things growing like burdock or, lamb's quarter? Or there's like lots of plants around here. You even have wood sorrel you could eat raw. You don't have to cook it. I just don't get it. But there are people around here, maybe it's the same where you live, that eat pokeweed and they have to boil it like 3 times so they don't die. It doesn't make sense. So this article makes a very good point that lamb's quarter is healthy. It's abundant. You can find it in a lot of places growing around the country. And it gives a lot of the history. It even has a video in the article on identification, so you can't mess this up. We have this growing in our garden, and I do pull it. I do not let it grow in the garden because I have a certain order of things. If you're growing in the garden, only if I plant you there. That's it. But if I want lamb's quarter, and if I was starving, I sure wouldn't be like these locals and go harvest pokeweed because lamb's quarter is in abundance. And so check it out. They even included, I think, a recipe at the end of the article. But keep an eye out for this.
I think that they just do it to prove how hardcore, maybe how local they are, that they've lived here all their life.
And they eat pokeweed?
I don't know.
I mean, it's just as hardcore to go out and get lamb's quarter. Most normal people don't even know what that is.
I've eaten pokeweed and survived.
Did you?
No, I'm being facetious.
Oh.
Waving a banner.
Oh.
Like, I've eaten pokeweed and survived.
That's just crazy. And there's so many other things in the forest that you can eat when plants are green and growing. Why on earth? I'm going to do a video on it this week because it's just ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. If you guys eat pokeweed, when we get to the chat room, you can tell me why on earth you do so.
He really wants to know.
I really want to know. I mean, I'll talk about your experience in the video, but and then so today we'll go to the chat room a little early today probably, but this is interesting. So I thought of you this morning because I usually get up before Jamie in the morning does, and I make coffee because that's the first thing we do. When we get up in the morning, make coffee. And I usually get her cup ready too because I know she'll be coming up soon. And sometimes I get your coffee ready.
Don't.
I always have it out here on the counter.
But I have to make it.
Yeah. Sometimes.
Sometimes.
I have the grounds out and everything ready for you because I'm not going to make your coffee because I don't know when you're getting up.
Just because you don't put it away.
Anyway, so I usually open my computer and I turn on YouTube, and you can go to you can search for Fox News, and I turn on Fox and Friends because Fox and Friends is on there, and I watch Fox and Friends, and they had, how these news shows, they'll do segments of new technology or new gadgets that are coming out.
Yeah.
Well, they did a camping one because it's summer and people are camping in 110 degree heat, I guess, and or maybe they're getting ready for fall. I don't know. But they talk about this thing called the Wonderbag. The Wonderbag. The Fox and Friends interviewed some guys who were talking about this new amazing... Wait, I'm going to read it to you.
But that's not new.
No, let me read it to you. It says, Wonderbag is simple but revolutionary. I mean, that would be new, right? Revolutionary because it's changed things. Revolutionary, non-electric, portable slow cooker. It continues to cook food which has been brought to the boil by a conventional method for up to 12 hours without the use of additional electricity or fuel.
The Wonderbag has been out there, I know for sure, at least 5 years.
The Wonderbag?
Mm-hmm.
So why are they saying it's new?
I don't know.
Well, okay. It says, change the way you cook. This is something about the taste of food. There's something about the taste of food cooked in a Wonderbag. Something that no conventional cooking can capture. Something that creates a combination of succulent dishes. But we've been doing this since we moved off grid.
Yeah, it's just insulation.
So talk to them about the Haybox.
Oh, I haven't researched it in a while, so I'm not going to say. I think
Well, you've been doing this for a while. I mean.
Yeah, but going back to the history of it, I think it was one of the world wars, when it was used a lot. What they used to do would get a box, like a wooden box, fill it with hay. Hay was their insulation, so that's hence the Haybox. And then they would put their pre-boiled pot inside, stuff it around with more hay, and put the lid on. And the insulation allows the heat to stay inside the pot for a very long time, and it's like a slow cooker.
Right. And so, but this is nothing new. I mean, there's been lots of variations of this throughout the...
No, it's not new.
Okay. So, would you buy a Wonder?
Would I buy a Wonderbag?
Yeah.
No. Although, I mean, they are doing a good...
It's kind of pretty, though. I mean, you like the designs on them?
It is really good looking. They are, I think the last I read about them, it was several years ago now, they were donating with every purchase part or all of a bag, I can't remember, to women in Africa.
Why would you only donate part of a bag? How do you use a part of a bag?
I'm saying I don't know if each purchase donates a whole bag.
Okay.
I'm just saying if it goes towards the purchase of a bag to send to.
Okay.
Anyway. Zach.
Wait, why do you donate only part of the bag?
Anyway, so their whole thing was donate these Wonder Bags to women in, I think it was Africa, so that they could cut down on their firewood usage, because it takes a lot of firewood to keep a stove or a fire going all day for them to cook.
Okay. The reason I brought this up is because it caught my attention when they said this was new. And supposedly all these gadgets that they had on Fox and Friends were new. And I was like, wait a minute, that's not new. Because
someone there just heard about it. It's new to them.
New to them. Okay. All right.
I don't know. Wonderbag, I have no idea how long they've been around. At least 5 years, because I heard about them 5 years ago.
But they got a shop. You can buy them online. And we use a cooler for ours.
Yeah, I use the cooler, towels, blankets, whatever I have. It really is... I feel like it works best with a enamel cast iron Dutch oven. I wouldn't use a regular Dutch oven just because there's a lot of condensation that develops inside because of the heat, and that's going to affect your Dutch oven. So I always use my enamel Dutch oven. Cast iron holds heat longer than, say, stainless steel, so I would do that. Make sure your pot is good and full. Like, the more full your pot, the better result you're going to have. So pick the right size pot for what you're cooking, because if you have a lot of empty space inside your pot, it's not going to stay hot as long.
Makes sense.
So you want to make sure you fill your pot, get your food, whatever it is, to a good rolling boil, whether it's a stew, soup. I've cooked beans this way, although you may, if you're cooking beans if you soak your beans and then you're cooking your beans expecting them to come out good and done, you may have to heat them up to boiling again halfway through your time, because I've had some issues with that.
Well, for the most part, it works really well, though. We've used it a number of times.
I'm just trying to think of any other tips for... I knew somebody one time who, I mean, it was innovative. It was kind of cool how they bought a cooler that would fit their pressure cooker. So they made their soup in their pressure cooker, and then they put their pressure cooker in the cooler, stuffed it with towels and insulation, and traveled with it. And they said that when they stopped and would get their meal out of the pressure cooker, open it up. Obviously, it was boiling, piping hot. They'd get their food out. They'd put the lid on. They'd keep going. And they still had soup like 3 days later, piping hot.
Wow.
As long as they just got it out, put the lid back on, and put it back in the cooler. So, but that's just because, a pressure cooker is able to bring it to a higher temperature anyway at the start.
Right.
I'm not sure I would do that. Like, I don't know. Traveling with a pressure cooker under pressure. I'm not sure if I...
It can't. The pressure won't stay in there because you got to open it up to get the food out. So, I mean...
No, I don't know.
You could probably let the pressure go out and then pack it. Because it's still going to be really hot in there after you...
Maybe they did that.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, but that's amazing that it would, 3 days later. It does work, folks. You can do this. We've been doing it, for a while here too, and we've done articles on it, and I think we've even done videos on it in our series.
It's been a long time.
I think we've done a video on it. If not, we'll have to do one next time. Next time she does it, I'll do it. I'll make a video on it. I'll make a point to do one. So anyway, check that out. You can see the article linked below. It's the Haybox, the article we wrote, 9 ways our homestead cooks off-grid. If you're interested, you can check it out. Link in the description below.
It's a cool way, even just like this time of year in the summer, if you don't want to keep your stove on all day. Or, if you're just trying to save on your electricity bill.
Right.
It's a cool way to do that.
Okay, so we're going to the chat room, folks. You know how it works. If you have a question, you can ask us a question. Just make sure you put it in all caps. We really appreciate that. And because that's going to be the best way for us to see it, put it in all caps. And then if we miss it, if we don't get to it, because there'll be maybe multiple questions, please keep posting the question again until you decide we're either ignoring you or we get to your question. So one of the ways. Also, hit that thumbs up button. We really appreciate hitting the thumbs up button before you leave. Glad to see so many people in the chat room and listening to the podcast. Do us a favor, hit that thumbs up button. It really does help us out, and lets YouTube know that we're not completely crazy and that we still do have a little bit of an audience. All right, at the chat room, see who's all here today. Simple Life Homestead looks like the moderator who's on patrol tonight. Peoria dude, just got my first STEEMIT author award. What do I do with it? Just put it, it's an attaboy. Good job, buddy. An attaboy. I think his Peoria dude avatar is from that Big Lebowski movie. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
No?
You made me watch part of it.
Did I? Yeah, that's one of those movies she would not like. I can just tell you right now. I thought it's a cult classic. It's kind of funny, but it's got language in it. I wouldn't watch it again, probably. But it's kind of funny. Where can I find potato slips here in Arkansas? There's people who sell them on the side of the road in Arkansas. I mean, there's a lot. They sell it all kinds of places. If you go into most feed stores in most small towns in Arkansas, they will sell them at the appropriate time. We got ours from Baker Creek this year. And so we're going to try to, and they're doing fabulous, by the way. They're doing completely fantastic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest some of these sweet potatoes, and then I'm going to grow my own slips next year with a couple of those sweet potatoes. And Shalom Acres, they have found a method that grows a lot of slips. I'm talking a lot of slips with just a few potatoes. So I'm gonna do a video either with them or I'm gonna learn they're gonna teach me how they did that many slips with the potatoes that they have. So we'll do that next year. But you can find them all over the place. You just gotta know where to look and ask around. But there's lots of people who sell them. Is the milk you drink raw? Do we drink raw milk here?
For sure.
Is there any other kind? The stuff in the store is not even. I wouldn't even consider that milk. It's been cooked, it's been processed, it's been, shot up with all kinds of drugs. You don't want to drink that stuff. Do you ever do Three Sisters gardening? No, not because I don't know. There's some. No, we've never done it, and I don't know if I ever will do it. Let's just put it that way. So, but I understand the science behind it, and I understand it could work. I understand that there's some evidence that the Native Americans did it, but I don't know if I'll ever do it here. What's up, you guys? Jay Bennett. I don't know. What's up? How much? I'm on a podcast. What's up with you? Simple Life Homestead. What do you guys do to handle raccoons? We shoot them. You just shoot them. there's no relocation. I mean,
You trap them first.
what?
You trap them.
We trap them. Yeah, we usually try to trap them. If we see them, we'll shoot them. Here's the deal. Standing order around these parts of Arkansas is when you see a raccoon, you shoot it. Because every raccoon is a chicken killer. Every single last one of them. They're chicken killers. And you know what? If you look up the stats on raccoons, there is no way they will ever be endangered. They in fact, they're a giant rodent. They're just a big rat. And so the standing order around from people around here is when you see a raccoon, you shoot it. Because they will kill a lot of chickens. So I would recommend Simple Life Homestead. It was it was one of our videos back in season 2, I think, where I trapped a raccoon. I showed you how to make a trap. Really easy system. All you need is a 4x4 and a couple of 2x4s. And you can make a really easy trap that will catch a raccoon every single time. Works great. And we've used it a number of times here on the homestead, so check it out. If you can't find that episode, I believe it's in season 2, or look around. If you can't find it, message me, email me or something. Try to get a hold of me, and I'll try to find it and give it to you. But it's a really easy way to catch. Wow, she says she got 11 casualties in one night. That's the deal. I mean, these raccoons, they won't even eat them. They'll just kill them. They're just murderers. I mean, you can't mess around. When you see a raccoon, eliminate it. It's if he's bad enough to show his face to you, kill it because he's brave. They shouldn't show their face to you. If they're that brave, you got to get rid of it. Do you make kraut with your cabbage recipe? Yes, we've made kraut.
Oh, yeah, I've made it a lot.
I love it.
It's so simple. Yeah, you don't even need a recipe. Yep. You just chop your cabbage. I think maybe about a tablespoon of salt per head of cabbage. But just look up fermenting sauerkraut. Fermented sauerkraut.
Yeah, there's lots of people
just
who do
Google that. You'll find
lots
some recipe. It basically is just cabbage and salt. And a lot of pounding. You want to pound it once you get your salt in. The salt is what helps it ferment. So it's preserving it while it's fermenting. And once it gets going, then the fermentation takes over and it ferments it. But the salt also enables the cabbage to release its juice. And the juice is what you want because your cabbage is immersed in that juice. There's no water added. Whatever comes out of sauerkraut making is only the juice from the cabbage itself. So you chop your cabbage, you get your salt in, and you pound it away to release its juices. And I just do it in a mason jar. Just pack it down in a mason jar and mush it down so that the juice comes up over the cabbage.
Simple Life Homestead wants to know which type of trap do you find works best. I use a number 2. I think it's a Victor or it's a coil spring. So you can either get long spring or coil spring, and a number 2 is the one I use. Number 2. It's perfect for a raccoon. They sell all kinds of traps like that, but I think the one I'm using in that video is a number 2 coil spring, if I'm not mistaken, and works great. Long springs work good too. Some people just prefer some over the other. But that's what I'm using, is number 2 coil spring. I think it's made by Victor, or it starts with a D. If it's not a Victor, it's a D. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a number 2 coil spring. That's what you get. Let's see. Did y'all see Deep South and Starry Hilders, what they did on Back to Eden? Wait, did y'all see the video Deep South and Starry did on Back to Eden doesn't work? Thoughts? Well, I saw the video. I watched the video. They didn't say it doesn't work. They said it doesn't work for some people. Deep South Homestead has termites and fire ants. I found my first patch of fire ants in our garden this year, and I quickly eliminated them by just putting some neem oil down their hole and spreading some diatomaceous earth down their hole. And it worked like a charm, and they were gone. I've been looking. I haven't found them back yet. So, and they were all over the place out of that one hole. But I haven't seen them come back, and that was just about a month and a half ago. So the first thing that came to my mind when I saw their video was if I had that many termites in my area, I would bring in a lot of mulch. I would bring in a lot of sawdust, and I would pile it up and let them eat it. Because here's the deal, and here's what I have found with insects. Insects leave a lot of poop behind. It's called insect frass, and it's amazing for your garden. It's fantastic for your garden. And so if I was them, because you can't put wood chips on your garden because that'll bring in the termites, and you don't want to bring termites in your garden because they can. I've heard of termites, decimating plants. So they'll take away plants. So what you can do is put it somewhere and let them devour it and turn it into frass to where they're not interested in anymore, and then put that amazing black gold frass on your garden. And to me, that all that poop is going to make your plants grow like crazy. Because they sell insect frass at natural organic stores, and I'm telling you, they charge an arm and a leg for it. That's a potential moneymaker that I would do if I was maybe deep south if they have the time. But because all you got to do is pile it up and just let the insects do what they want with it. And then after a couple years, go out there, bag it up, and sell it for like $40 a bag. I mean, because you go to the organic store, and they charge an arm and a leg for insect frass. Because a lot of people go out and they collect it, in smaller quantities. But that stuff's worth a lot of money. So I don't know. Maybe it's a potential. I wish I could do that here, but I don't have that kind of issue. But I know insect frass, when I do find it, like I'll crack open a log sometimes, and I'll find a big, giant pile of insect frass. And I'll take that insect frass, I'll gather as much as I can, and we'll put that on plants. I'll put it on tomatoes, or I'll put it in a tea, like an organic compost tea. And that stuff really, energizes the nutrient level of the plant. So I would check that out. That would be my option. But I saw the video, and it works for some people. It doesn't for others. I don't know. Works good for us. We do it. So, but you just gotta do what you gotta do. To get by. What is the number one skilled trade that comes in handy on the homestead? I would say, I don't know. Other than gardening, because gardening, knowing how to do some of that stuff is kind of important. But I would say running a chainsaw probably be my number one thing, because we run a chainsaw a lot.
But skilled trade.
Skilled trade? I don't know.
Like maybe carpentry or some kind of a building skill.
Yeah, that helps. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that. Growing. I think growing is probably, you got to feed your family, and then access you can sell.
I wouldn't consider gardening a skilled trade, though.
Farming is...
But, everyone had a garden 100 years ago.
Do we have any skilled trades on here besides your dad doing, woodworking?
I don't think so.
My skilled trade is development work, computers, stuff like that.
The point is that you can do it, whoever you are.
Yeah. A ratio for kraut, 5 pounds shredded cabbage to 3 pounds tablespoons of salt. Works great every time.
Yeah, that sounds good. Sounds right.
Paula Swarek says that. Good job, Paula. Xyphos, whatever that is. Have you restocked your fish in your aquaponics system? No, I published an article on my aquaponics system on STEEMIT just this last week. So you can go check it out. Go to STEEMIT.com, go to our page. I think you'll find a link to our STEEMIT page in the description below. Check that out and go find our article on aquaponics. It'll fill you in on where we are with that. Emma Drummond says, do you plant tomatoes in the same spot every year? Basically, I have a tomato section for my garden, and it's doing okay. I saw there's some of my plants are getting a little bit of wilt on them, on some of the leaves. I'm going to cut those off probably before I leave for Texas. But other than that, my tomatoes are doing great. We've been eating pico de gallo for the last week. As the tomatoes are starting to come in, they're going to start coming in more and more regular. By the time we get back from Texas, we're going to be canning.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
We'll be busy.
It's so nice. Both boys like to go out to the garden and pick for me now. So, it's really, really helpful. Hey, go get some tomatoes for dinner. Okay.
Let's see. Can you recommend a good natural nitrogen source for my garden? Nitrogen source. I don't know about a natural nitrogen source. You could, if you wanted to, you could compost chicken manure, but you'd need to compost it for at least a year. and that's heavy nitrogen. I did what Danny told me to do, and I over at Deep South, and I put raw chicken manure, new uncomposted chicken manure on all of my corn, and it seems to be working fine. So I'm going to keep doing that. But for the rest of the garden, I'm telling you, the best manure you can get is rabbit manure. Get rabbit manure. Usually you'll be able to find someone in your area that raises a lot of rabbits. Because most rabbits are raised on alfalfa pellets, and almost all the alfalfa sold is non-GMO, so you don't have to worry about a bunch of garbage going into that manure. That's the best manure, and it's good in nitrogen. It's not going to burn your plants. You can put it on raw and not worry about it. So I recommend always rabbit manure. I think Zach needs to double your salary. Her salary gets doubled every day.
What are you talking about?
We Tree Bonsai says, I think Zach needs to double your salary.
Not for me, for Simple Life.
I think that's
what he's talking about.
Oh, okay. Well, everyone's salary is now doubled.
Says, Simple Life, Homestead, your fantastic mod. I think Zach needs to double your salary.
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Everyone's salary is now doubled. You just got a raise.
How do you double my salary every day is what
I
want to know.
I thought he was talking about you.
But, what?
I was just being to be funny. I don't know. Do you dock your lamb's tails? Why? No, because you don't need to. There's a reason why they have tails. What do you want to cut it off for? They need their tails. The only people who dock their tails are commercial breeds of sheep, and these are not commercial breeds, so I'm not worried about it. I'm perfectly fine with my sheep having tails the way our creator made them to be, with tails. I mean, the tail is there to spread the poop out, and so it doesn't stick to their bottom. It's only when they get the runs that they have problems, which they shouldn't have in the first place. But their tail is to get rid of the poop and to swat the flies away from their rear end. So I have no problem with their sheep having tails, but I know some people want to get rid of that. Oh, Frida Makers is on. Frida Makers got rain today. I was really jealous. She's like down in Arkansas somewhere, and she did a Facebook Live thing, and she had rain, and I was really jealous. Mm-hmm. I was waiting all day for the rain to get here, and it didn't show up, and I was just like, oh. And then she gets on there and is like, woohoo, it's raining. I'm like, oh. I was really upset.
Don't be jealous.
Sorry. I want to try not to be jealous, but can you send some rain our way? It doesn't look like we're going to get rain for the next at least few weeks. So, hey guys, thanks for tuning in again this week. It's about 10 o'clock, ready for us to sign off on the Late Late Show here at An American Homestead. Again, really appreciate you guys tuning in. If you're interested, you can check us out at AmericanHomestead.com. Information on homesteading, off-grid living, preparedness, gardening, livestock and chickens, alternative energy, and food preservation. And be sure to check out our sponsors, GasSpouts.com. All right, guys, see you next time on the Homestead. Have a great week.